More than ever, the police department needs to look into these things even more on how they train their police officers when it comes to a situation like this. We got to go into this main story today. This is something that came out a couple days ago, and it's been going super viral. And it is a video of a black girl getting arrested. And it's the weirdest. It is the weirdest way to get quote unquote arrested. OK, but this woman was allegedly, this young girl was allegedly running in front of cars. And this cop felt obligated to arrest or detain this young woman. And it turns into a terrible, frustrating viral video. Let's take a look at it.
Why you don't have to ever hear her? She was like, okay?
You need to back up. You need to back up.
Do not touch me. Back up. Back up.
Just calm down. Calm down. Hold on.
You can talk to her.
Okay, but you can get up. You don't have to do her like this.
She's trying to jump in front of her.
No, she's not. Please
calm down. Kaya, calm down. Kaya, calm down.
Just calm down, okay?
Now, for those of y'all, we're going to be cutting this up bit by bit. But for those of y'all who don't know who this woman is or what's going on, her name, the 18-year-old girl, her name is Nakia Trigg. OK, and allegedly she was out walking around in the neighborhood. There were some 911 calls that were allegedly saying that she was jumping in front of these cars. This cop comes up. Of course, he's answering to this 911 call. He goes out, tries to speak to her. He thinks that she is possibly mentally thinking about doing something heinous to herself. You know what I mean? The S word. And she instantly says, I can't. He instantly says, I have to detain you. We do have that footage. I'm going to show you guys the rest of this video, but I wanted you guys to see this or hear a little bit more as we continue here. This woman right now, right here, is her mother. So the mother comes up to intervene. She's the one holding Nakia's hand right now. They're calling her Kia, but she's the one. The mother is holding her hand right now. Let's continue.
Just let her get up. You don't have to sit on her like that. Kaya, calm down. Kaya, just calm down.
Okay, just calm down.
Just breathe, Kaya.
Calm
Just
down.
breathe.
I got her, please. She's what? Y'all is on her. Why y'all? It's 102 degrees out here.
Okay, breathe.
She cannot breathe.
She's spitting
They
up.
don't even fucking care. What are you going to do?
She hasn't done anything.
No.
We'll turn her over if y'all back up.
Okay. But what are you going to turn her over for?
Now, like real quick, we're going to go back to this, but this is the strangest. I understand that this is like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu move, the way this officer is on top of her. But this is the strangest position. This is the strangest position, in my personal opinion, to try to detain someone, especially someone where it is just a mental health situation. This is not somebody who's being violent. This is not somebody who is wielding a deadly weapon. This is a woman that allegedly is having a mental health crisis. And he is on top of her in such way, in such fashion. It is the strangest thing. We're going to continue, but don't you see that? Don't you feel that this is kind of a weird position to be at? It's kind of strange to me, but let's continue.
She's literally just walking.
Bro.
Pissing me off. She can shut up.
Bro.
Stop it.
Okay.
We got the report. She's
Look at her mouth. Okay.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
If we can restrain her, we'll stand her up and she's fine, okay?
Okay, Mama.
She's suicidal. Okay. Okay, well, let us get her restrained and safe.
Literally foaming from her mouth. She's literally foaming.
Do you see that? Foaming from the mouth, spitting out, etc. The way he's positioned on her, etc. Now, let's just say that the officer thinks that this is the safest way to be on top of her, to detain her. I totally disagree. I feel like this could, if she is a survivor, if you know what I mean, if she is a survivor, this could bring back some serious flashbacks as well. The way she is positioned, the way he is mounted on top of her. I mean, he straight up, it almost seems like he's in missionary position right now. It is extremely uncalled for, but let's continue. There's more.
You just let her up. Why does she need handcuffs? Wait, she didn't do anything.
If she's running in front of traffic,
She's not, I'm her mother. She's not going to go anywhere.
She cannot breathe.
Just stand back.
rolling over.
Why are y'all about to handcuff her?
Just hold on.
She has not done anything. And then you are on her all up. I need your badge number and your name. Record his. Please do. Calm down, Kaya.
Just calm down. Everything's okay.
It's easy for her. Like, girl.
He know that he didn't.
Please put that camera back on, up here on your chest.
It was never on you in the first place. Why was that camera not on you while you were on? Yeah.
And look how he's sitting on top of her like he just like took down a bear. I'm sorry, just the way this whole thing, this whole video so far, it gets worse, by the way. I'll just say that. It gets much worse here in a second. But what drives me nuts is that notice everything, the position, the body, how everything is how he's splayed out, how he was splayed out on her. The mother is there. She is saying, I'm the mother. Why couldn't they just go, okay, Nakia, hey, here you go. You're going with your guardian. You're going with your mother. Everything's okay. Hey, is everything, does she have any history of mental health issues, etc.? They could have done so many different questions right here, but they did not. They did not. Oh, it gets worse. Let's continue.
Oh my God, we finna report all that. All of that. You had to report all of that.
Please don't. We're gonna report all of that.
There you go.
You're fine.
Where are shoes?
Can you hold this?
You didn't have any whenever I found it.
Give here. I'm not talking to you.
Let go of it.
Stop.
Let go of it.
Jay, stop! Stop! No, sir, please!
Bruh,
sir,
really?
please. Okay, stop! Okay, sir, please! Put your hands up, please! Now, really, the other cop has to show up with the taser, pointing at these people who are doing nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. This is really how it's going down right now. We really making these decisions like this. My boys in blue. The woman, the mother of this child, who I'm seeing right now, Strategic just said something. I'm going to throw it up here really, really quick. He says, it is customary to handcuff emotionally disturbed people who threaten to hurt themselves, but that doesn't excuse anything else he did. They might have to fire him and put him on the registration. I could not agree more. Here it is. I understand about emotionally disturbed human beings, etc. But at the same time, the mother was there. And the mother's sitting there going, I'm here. She's holding her hand. She is being there for her child, saying, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to calm my child. But you are also arresting my kin. You're arresting my seed. Then, I don't know what happened, but as they're starting to take her to the car, which in my personal opinion, fine, handcuff her, stand her up, try to find out what the heck is going on, and talk to the mother. The mother hopefully shows proof, identification that the mother is actually the biological mother of this mother or legal guardian. and you set the woman free. But no, they wanted to take her to the cruiser or to the squad car for whatever reason they needed to do. The mother goes over. Seems like she may have touched the officer's shoulder or back or something, and he snapped. Next thing you know, now she's being arrested. Let's continue the video.
Please, please, please. I'm up. He took his damn camera out. Look at you. Jay, get out. I'm not here. It's all right, Jay. It's all right. It's all right. It's gonna get handled. It's gonna get handled for sure.
Back.
It's gonna get handled for sure.
Mama, stay calm. Mama, stay calm. Stay calm. When I got here, this camera was stay calm. Facing down. Stay calm, Kaya. All I did was ask if my daughter couldn't breathe. She was foaming at the mat.
It's all right. I got it all on video.
And now it's all over the internet. Now we all have seen it. Okay. We have seen this in all of its glory. And of course, there's a lot more to this story than just this. I'm going to show you guys a couple more things, like some of the news coverage of this particular video that has gone viral. A lot of people are talking about this to a great extent. We got to take a look at this particular article right here. There's a lot of people that have questions about what the hell happened and what is going on here. Okay, so here it is. Let me make sure you guys can see this a little bit bigger than me. All right, so here we go. So a Kaufman County Sheriff's deputy has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation on a viral video. CBS 11 first reported on Wednesday, July 28th. The sheriff's office has released 911 calls and body cam video of the incident in Forney's, showing the moments leading up to the deputy mounting. It's coming from them, not me. Mounting a teenage girl who authorities believed was wanting to do something heinous to themselves. Okay, says here in a 911 call, says there's a young lady, African-American lady, that is walking in the middle of the street. A 911 caller said she's thrown herself out on the road. Looks like a possible incident, if you know what I mean. Another caller, Deputy Marlin, arrived with his body camera rolling. He goes up to her and says, "What's wrong? How come are you crying?" He said in the video, "Why are you here?" Trigg said, "Just to talk to you, make sure you're okay." As they walk, he puts his hand on the 18-year-old Nikaya's Trigg's shoulder, then grabs her arm. She says, instantly, she says, "I don't want you to hurt me," she said. He says, "If you keep pulling away, I got to put you in handcuffs, though." Okay, one more time. "I don't want you to hurt me. If you keep pulling away, I got to put you in handcuffs, though." Then there's a scuffle. His body cam falls off. Trigg is heard saying, "You're hurting me already." He says, "Sit down, okay?" She says, "You're hurting me already." It appears Deputy Maryland's body cam fell off during the struggle and fails to capture the rest of the incident. This is about the time when Trigg's family arrives and starts to record what's happening, as they should have. So, the Kaufman County Sheriff's Office and Deputy Marlin said Deputy Marlin used a technique on Trigg that they teach. So that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu move that he was using, where he was literally mounted on top of her, is something that they teach. She was eventually handcuffed and led to the deputy's cruiser. Now, we already know the rest because we saw the video itself. All right. Now, this there was a video in here.
First tonight at 10 o'clock, we're getting a little better understanding of what led up to these moments in this viral video, including that North Texas Sheriff's deputy, an 18-year-old, and her mother. Aaron Jones looking at some newly released video and the response from the teenager's family tonight.
There's a lady, or a young lady. She is throwing herself out in front of the road. Looks like a possible suicide.
The 911 calls started coming in.
Here it is.
What's wrong? How come you crying?
Deputy Marlin arrives, his body cam rolling.
Just to talk to you, make sure you're okay.
As they walk, he puts his hand on
Seems
18-year-old
nice so far.
Nakaya Trigg's shoulder, then takes her arm.
I don't want you to hurt me.
Keep going away. I got to put you in handcuffs, though.
He continues to try and calm her down and reassure her that he doesn't want to hurt her.
I mean, clearly, in my personal opinion, clearly you can see that this woman is not okay. She's dealing with some stuff. Whatever's going on, she's not happy about something. All right. But she's also terrified, given the fact that there's such a stigma attached to police brutality, attached to police and excessive force on Black men and women out here in this country. I don't blame her for being a little bit terrified. I don't blame her for being a little bit nervous. She's an 18-year-old girl that's allegedly going through something internally, and then suddenly 5-0 show up. Yeah, that's going to heighten some things. That's going to make people feel a little nervous. Let's continue.
Trigg gets very emotional. It appears Marlin's body camera falls off during the struggle and fails to capture the rest of the incident. This is about the time Trigg's family arrives and starts to record what's happening. The sheriff's office says Marlin is using a technique here on Trigg that they teach.
Now, we already know the rest of the story. We already saw it, etc. We already saw the video. But at the same time, this is what we have so far. OK, everybody. Now, of course, this officer has been put on administrative leave. He is now chilling in the cut, paid leave. He's basically on paid vacation. And this is what's going on, y'all. This is what's going on. This is what we see with our own two eyes. Of course, I want to throw it around to the fellas, hear their thoughts on this situation. To me, this is a messy situation. The way that the cop is positioned on top of this woman, this young girl, looks very sus to me. Extremely suspicious, very suspect to me. This is something that they teach. I understand that it is a jiu-jitsu move. That is a hold. It does exist. But to me, this is real sketchy, y'all. This is real sketchy. I'm going to, one of y'all wanted to say something, so speak up.
Yeah, I was going to say that, so I was looking through the Kaufman County authorized moves. I didn't see that move in there. The fact that they're teaching it doesn't necessarily mean that it's an authorized move. It's not on their public. It's not in their public guidelines. So unless it's a private one, even though they're teaching that hold, it's not an authorized hold to actually use. And I mean, if you look at it, you can see why. She could have bit him, spat in his face, kicked him in his junk, flipped him over pretty easily. He was in a bad position to hold somebody. And on top of that, yeah. And on top of that, he's stretching her arms out and sitting on her probably lower lungs or diaphragm or something like that. You can kind of see it. That's probably why she starts spitting up
at the mouth.
yeah, because basically she can't breathe, so it's just fluid buildup in her lungs. Because you can see how he's pretty much thrusting his pelvis into her stomach.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks like it's weird, and I'm sorry to say it like this, but it seems like he's in completion mode. It's weird. Yeah. Like he's pressing his junk against her. That is awkward to me. And like I said before, if you got somebody who is a survivor and has dealt with abuse in this kind of form, this could trigger some serious stuff. Real talk. But David, continue.
Yeah, so I agree with that. This cop in particular, the young, he looks like a young one, probably not even 21 yet. It's hard to tell. He looks really young. But either way, I mean, you see the other cop come up, and he's basically trying to get him off because whatever he's doing is stupid and not helpful. So he's just trying to get him off so that they can actually turn her around and control her if there's a problem. Because I don't know. He's just strangling her and kind of thrusting into her stomach. He's not actually doing anything useful. And so the cop tries to get him off of her and, gets her in an actual position where they can control her with allowing her to breathe. And then again, it seems like this young guy, once they're walking, the mother gets too close and she doesn't hit him. I think she like tapped him or something. It's hard to tell how quick it happened. And he just straight up tackles her
he
against the
goes after her.
concrete.
He goes after her like a ravenous dog, y'all, like a ravenous dog. And the thing is she could have been trying to touch her daughter to give her some physical affection, to tell her everything's going to be okay. You don't know what was going on. You see what I'm saying? And she may have tried to touch her shoulder and accidentally hit the cop. That could be possible too. And then the cop just got triggered. You know what I mean? He's like, get her! Oh, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But continue, David. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think honestly, they're just kind of covering up for this young guy who was just an idiot the entire time. Because at least this white officer seems to be like disappointed in him. We don't get to hear the other officer, the black one, really speak. At least I didn't hear him speak.
Mm-hmm.
But at least this guy right here that's like talking to him right now seems like he recognizes this kid's being an idiot. And he is. I don't know what he's planning to do here. I don't know. It does seem more just like a form of suffocation and kind of sexual harassment than anything that would be useful whatsoever. Not just as a police form of grappling, but any sort of grappling in a real fight, in a competitive fight, and actually arresting somebody. His position doesn't make sense whatsoever in any of those circumstances. It's degrading and it's also ineffective. And I really think this is a case. I mean, I'm not saying that the other police haven't influenced him, but I think this is a case of just a young guy out there thinking that he's supposed to be beating up all these people he sees causing problems on the news. Basically, I think that's what this kind of situation is. But I don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm. T, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like most of you, or all of you, really, it's just really hard to watch this video transpire. It's hard to see a young girl who's going through a situation emotionally and mentally not get the proper care that she needs at that moment. It seems like he just put more gasoline on her fire. He made everything worse. And when you're touching somebody who doesn't want to be touched, they're going to react in a way that's going to be in self-defense or a way where they're trying to elope. So him being extra aggressive, his whole tactics and style of handling this, this should be used for future trainings nationwide on what not to do, because it's really that bad. He made everything worse. He really did, and it just like you guys said about his whole position. It looks very sexual or degrading, or it's horrible. I mean, if she was a high school student and he was like the security or the school police, he'd get fired for that, because that looks so sexual and it's just not proper technique. There's no way she should be allowed to be on her back that long with him on her stomach and sternum, and she's spitting up. I mean, automatically should have had her on the side on recovery mode or position to have her breathe, and the other cops should be telling him, like, I got this, get off of her, I'll handle it. And it's not. The mom is there trying to help. She kind of makes it worse at times, where she's like cursing him out because he's acting even worse, unfortunately. And he has no excuse me, he has no ability to emotionally handle himself properly. So he's everything's pissing him off, everything. And then later on he tackles the mom because he's already pissed off at her from probably intervening. It's just this cop was on the force way too early. He needs to probably be on desk duty and made to go through the academy again, because this video, his attempt to help her, just sucks.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. You know, this whole video is pretty bad, and what needs to be done. Yes, you could tell like that dude a rookie, or unless he just found the fountain of youth. This is a young man, young cop. Probably doesn't have a whole lot of experience under his belt. And I just feel like there needs to be a better way. There needs to be a better way of approaching these situations. There needs to be a better way of approaching mental health situations so that it doesn't turn into these full-on scuffles, these overblown moments of misunderstanding or moments of lack of sensitivity towards somebody who's dealing with something. Now, I understand that there's the what some people are saying, like, hey, this is the standard procedure. This is just what is done. This is how they take care of it when it comes to somebody who is wanting to do something heinous to themselves. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, all right, I get it. I get it that you need to do your thing. I understand that there's common procedure, but there's also a human level to this that needs to exist as well. This situation could have been easily been quelled just by them standing her up and saying, "Is this your mother? Okay. Well, she had an issue, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah." That's it. But everything kept getting worse and worse and worse. Things started to escalate over and over and over again for no reason. Like I've been saying over and over again, there needs to be a better way on how they approach mental health situations. Because yes, I get it. We don't have the world where we have social workers going on these particular calls. We don't. We don't have people who are specialized in mental health going to those specific calls. The cops are just sent out to those things. Then those cops, I feel cops do need to have more training in regards to those things, because a lot of these issues, a lot of these situations that do happen where a person is losing their life is all because of the lack of training and understanding that's coming from the man or woman that's in the blue, in the uniform. There needs to be more of this. There needs to be more understanding of what's going on here. Not this whole BS of, oh, we got standard procedures and all that. That's fine. I get it, standard procedures, but we have had so many times, too many times, of people getting killed due to a misunderstanding or lack of training from the people who are supposed to, quote unquote, protect and serve. And the other thing is I want to say this, though, too. I'm not knocking police officers. I'm not saying all police officers are bad. I'm not saying that. And it seems as if that cop was doing what he was trained to do. But it shows you what's going on in the people that are above them as well, that are writing out the curriculum, that are writing out the guidelines, that are writing out what is okay and what is not okay to do, how to approach a possible civilian, how to approach a criminal, when to protect yourself, when to use deadly force, etc. But then why aren't they writing in that book or in that handbook what to do when you're approaching somebody that is dealing with mental health issues? What is the proper way of approaching them? Because right now we're not getting social workers showing up like that all across the country. Right now we don't have that. We don't. So we have to look to our boys in blue, men and women in blue. We do. I feel like this one, among a plethora of other examples out here that have gone super viral, should wake the police department up and make them realize that what's going on out here needs a little bit more TLC and a little bit more attention on your training. So videos like this, we don't have to see. And worse videos like this that we have seen. It's just something to think about. It's just something to think about. like I said, my heart and prayers and thoughts go to that family, the Trigg family, or Nikaya's family. That is, she didn't have to go through that. That made, and the other thing is, it's like, the other thing you got to put into play here at the same time is that imagine what's going on in her head now. Let's just say she was going through some mental health issue, because it's all alleged. She could have just been being anything could have been possible. She could have just been some kid being stupid. You know, she could have just been, hey, I'm gonna run in front of cars. I don't know. People do weird things. Shoot, there are people out here doing Tide Pod count challenges and stuff like that still to this day. So, you know, people do some dumb things all the time. But if she was allegedly trying to do something to herself, and that happens, what do you think what kind of effect do you think that's having on that young woman? Think about it. She was already in the dark. She was already down the dark rabbit hole of depression. And then she is physically assaulted, mounted upon, quote unquote, you know, sexually assaulted. I'll say the words. While still being in this dark place. You don't think that what just happened to her is not going to have a lasting effect or double down her depression? Like I said, there's got to be a better way and a new approach to handling these situations that happen all the time. More than ever now, we are dealing with a pandemic, everybody. We are still dealing with it. Things are rising and dropping, and people are getting angry and saying that they should or shouldn't be doing this, and whether to wear this and whether not to wear this. There's so much stress going on every single person right now. More than ever, the police department needs to look into these things even more on how they train their police officers when it comes to a situation like this, because we have a lot of them. I got a super chat from Strategic. Thank you so much for the super chat. And by all means, you can steal this story, put it on your show. I read that comment. LOL as well. Anyway, great show today. Not all cops are bad, but we need to hold the bad ones accountable. This cop should be fired. I absolutely agree. And by the way, Strategic is a cop. We agree on this one now. Yay. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this cop should be fired. How he was approaching it, what he did, definitely not right. Most definitely not right at all. I hope one day 5-0, the police department of America, or whatever they call it, decides to look into this situation and actually do something. Get off they dusty asses and actually rewrite their handbook and figure out what is the right way of doing things, how to approach certain situations, and doing it the right way. This was the wrong way, y'all. What we just saw with our own two eyes is most definitely the wrong way.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.